Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Popcorner Podcast. And I was trying to think on the fly of something witty to say that would, kind of tie in Five Nights at Freddy's or anything like that. But we don't have anything like that today, other than the fact that, it's a new week. It's a new week. It's a new podcast.
Halloween's tomorrow, the day of recording this. We're on Halloween's Eve right now, dude.
We always come back. So.
I mean, we sure do.
Yeah. With that being said, hello, my name is Coleman. Falling Hurts is my main channel, if you're ever willing to go to such dastardly places. This is Draven. He says he's going to make another video, but I think he's a one-hit wonder.
I made a screen tier list of all the characters, and then after that I dipped for like 7 months.
And speaking of Scream, today we have... we're going to
Matthew Lillard.
We got Matthew Lillard in there, and it should be pretty exciting, all in all. And with that being said, Scream is not the movie we're talking about.
He said the wrong one.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
5 of them. 5 nights.
Is a movie I feel like they've been working on for a really long time.
Wasn't it like 5 or 6 years?
Oh my god, it's been so long. It has to have been.
Yeah, it's been in development for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I think we've decided we're going to do spoilers in this one.
Yeah, we might do like the beginning, no spoilers. I think
we can do
at least like our verdicts, and then we can kind of explain it with spoilers.
I just feel like this movie is really heavily focused on plot more than anything. So it's kind of hard to like get like a lot of the info you want to say out without kind of nitpicking at certain scenes or saying certain plot details, because a lot of it is just heavily plot focused, which is really good. I think that the movie is pretty good on that aspect. I think that the negatives come in when you try to say that it's a horror movie.
Right.
And with the scares of it all, that is where it starts to lack a little bit. But
pulling up my trusty note companion here.
Note companion.
I've been taking notes.
That's kind of like my basic assumption here, is that like going into it, I'm not a huge Five Nights at Freddy's guy. I played the first game and that's it. I didn't play any of the other ones. I know a little bit of like the base lore. Like I knew about,
See, I get iffier and iffier the more expanded it gets. Like, yeah. I played Five Nights 1 and 2 for sure. I couldn't really tell you the lore introduced in 2, though. That I don't really remember. I know, like, Balloon Boy and stuff. He comes from 2.
Yeah.
So I know that. And then Springtrap, of course, is from 3.
So yeah, like I know Springtrap. I know like the reason behind the animatronics and like why they do what they do.
Right.
Like
right.
I knew the basic of the basic, but when you try to tell me like certain things like that's really more specific or in the later games, no clue, no idea.
Right. And I get that. So okay, here's how I propose we do this. Since we're going to be doing it a little different, it's a newer movie. We want to start with no spoilers. Then. Usually if this is like a night of premiere, we'll just say no spoiler video. It'll be a shorter one. But since we're kind of catching this a little bit later, we'll do some spoilers since it's also on streaming or whatever. But for no spoilers' sake here in the beginning, I want you to just say your score, and we'll give like a brief synopsis,
okay,
general idea, but then I want us to be able to defend it. Whether it's we're disagreeing or we're agreeing and we're defending it to the internet.
The audience.
Yeah, the audience. So
well, all I want to say is GYATT! That's all. We watched it in theaters. And there was probably like, what, a 10-year-old?
I bet they were somewhere between 10 and 12.
Yeah, 10, 12-year-old. And the girl cop in here. Like a little scene where she like bends over to pick up something. And it's not even a GYATT moment.
No, it's not a GYATT moment.
But this man just screams it in the theaters. And I never thought I'd ever hear anyone ever say it in real life. I never thought I would, and I immediately cringed out of existence.
So let me ask you this, then. Hypothetical here, clearly. Okay. What, to you, is a GYATT moment? What defines a GYATT moment? What could have made this moment that made this 11 to 12-year-old seem like such an idiot? Into a GYATT moment.
Maybe if it was actually like, a rated R movie or something, they were actually going for some booty shots or something on purpose. It was literally a side view anyway.
It wasn't. It was not gratuitous.
It wasn't like going for anything like that. No, it wasn't supposed to be sexy or sex appealish. Nothing. It's just a girl just picking up something. And this guy just says that, and I'm like, oh my god. And even if it was a GYATT certified moment,
You do not say that in the theater.
No, not even that. Who says that word? Just say, God dang, that's pretty good.
You're gonna say
That's it. That's it. Stop.
I just imagine you in the middle of the theater. Some girl. It's a gratuitous ass shot. It's 1970 something. Texas Chainsaw just came out.
Yeah, that like under.
God dang, that's pretty good.
It beats whatever the generation is now because people think that word is bussin', as they say.
Stop it.
I listen. They say it, not me. All right.
Thank
Okay.
you,
Okay.
12-year-olds.
Yeah. So that was kind of our experience. Heard that word, and that was curious. People behind us were kind of annoying in general anyway. Not
Yes.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
But
Viewing experience, 0 out of 10. I'm just kidding.
I mean, no, it was fine. It's just
3 out of 10.
my cousins on the left of us. They said the ones behind them were kicking their seats and stuff.
Good.
He said good.
Deserved.
But no, my overall score, I'm probably gonna give it a 7. Actually, I think that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
I think this is coming from a guy who's not a fan of the franchise. So I imagine I've heard from the internet that a lot of people who are like really into FNAF like this movie a lot.
Yeah,
And
I've
then
seen that as well.
I've heard
noticed that.
people who aren't really into the franchise rate it pretty low. I think it's like a 7, 7.5. I'm going to stick with 7 though, because I would have loved more of the murderous animatronics. Kind of like you get scenes where some stuff goes. We're not doing spoilers yet. There's some scenes where some stuff goes down. You see some kills, and it's really cool. But it doesn't happen that often. And then they go from like that to like animatronics being lovable. And I thought that was kind of weird. Like, I get the message they were going for, and I was fine with it. And it's just, that's something I would have loved to see more out of a horror movie.
That's fair.
I know it was PG-13, but if they would have done it a little bit more like Megan, I think I would have liked it a bit more. Because I like Megan. Megan was really good.
Hello.
So,
I accidentally hit stop recording. Continue. Ching.
okay. So overall, after getting shot down by this guy, because my opinion doesn't matter to him.
It does suck.
Whatever. But I think I was kind of like talking about how Megan kind of did a little bit more with like kills, even because the reason I'm combining the two is because they're like both PG-13 horror movies. So like when you watch a PG-13 horror movie, you know that the gore and like really crazy, insane kills are going to be cut back a lot.
Right.
So going to this movie, I knew it was going to be like that. I just wish there would have been more of it. But nonetheless, it got the job done. What we did get was really cool. I actually liked the scenes that revolved around dying and death. It was nice. Animatronics though, chef's kiss. Fantastic. I actually think they look really good. And when they move, it looks really cool. And then, honestly, I just think that the plot of this movie was what really carried it. And I think that's a hit or miss. Some people think that it should have had way more horror and jump scares and all that stuff. Because that's what kind of started the franchise, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, jump scares. That's what Five Nights at Freddy, the game, is all about. There's not really that many in here. Maybe like 2 at the most.
I'm legitimately interested to see how you defend your score, as a lot of the things you're saying are like positive. Like even the horror thing you're saying kind of like, oh, well, like it's fine because the story kind of carried it.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, I mean, I'll get into it, of course, but like my score is similar to yours, but some of the stuff you're saying is positives are my negatives.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
well, I don't know. I think that what we got, like with the horror, kills, all that stuff, was fine enough. It did its job to solidify that it is a classified horror film.
yeah.
That's fine. I just think that our characters were really fun. I loved the main character. I loved the cop. I loved the little girl. She was adorbs. You know, they all were really good.
Is the girl's name
Abby.
Abby, yeah.
She was cool. You know, Matthew Lillard, obviously a certified banger if he's in it. Like, literally.
He's in it. Shit, man. What,
You already
4
knew
lines?
that. I already knew that.
No, 4 lines.
What are you talking about?
He was in the movie for like 5 seconds.
I don't care.
That's the problem.
He's still in it. So, therefore, certified back. Yeah, I wish we would have got more with Matthew Lillard. That's something that you will find out, is he's not in it as much as you would want. But he is in it. And, you know, you got some cameos that are really cool. Had me kind of like, yo! You know, those cameos are really fun. I think I'm going to stick it with a 7 because there are some good things in this movie. However, I don't think it is as hype. I don't get it as far as like the FNAF fans who are rating it like 10s out of 10s, masterpiece, best horror movie. Because it's like the #1 opening movie this year, I think, or horror movie this year.
Horror
anyway.
movie, yeah.
And that makes me sad because Scream and Evil Dead Rise, in my opinion, were way better. However, I don't think the official critics that are rating it like 20s and out of 100,
right
2 out of 10s.
Yeah.
No, you're crazy. I think it was a pretty solid flick. 7 out of 10. If you want to fight me on that or certain things we want to discuss, that's fine.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'll start strong. I think this movie is a 6.5. And I debated a 6 when I, like, that night when we came back, I was like, man, I'm not sure. And I even thought 7 at one point, and I was thinking that, but I was like, no, I think it's, like, kind of smack in the middle of that, because it's, like, there's things that you say, like, there's, like, the attention to detail in the world is always really nice, like, the actual location.
The atmosphere was good.
Yes, that was really good. I thought, you know, I'm trying not to, like, completely spoil my whole point, but, you know, I think where acting is hit or miss, I think it was well enough to carry the story forward, and I think I think a lot of the negative reviews are coming from a point of the horror is not there, and in place of it is a really heavy story,
which
that no one wanted. And I'm just like, well, I agree, but if you expected them to just be staring at cameras
for the whole 2 hours.
Then you were mistaken.
Well, you got to think. I am on the spectrum of
You
like.
are on the spectrum. I knew it. I knew it the whole time.
Woo! That's what we've been waiting for.
I've been theorizing for 2 years.
Listen,
I knew
I'm
it.
on the side of cough. I'm on the side of like wanting more of the horror like esque. Like, I would have loved more scenes. Shut up! I would have loved more scenes of like staring at the cameras, a little bit of like, huh? You know, jump scare, whatever, or just seeing more of that. I understand that. However, people who see the story and stuff, you got to think FNAF. Even though I'm not really into it, FNAF's a pretty heavily plot-driven game. Like, there's a lot going on in the background that's more than just ooh, jump scare. You know what I'm saying? That's even coming from a guy who doesn't play that much. Like, there's a lot of story there.
FNAF gameplay be like,
hold on, you gotta turn off the power sometimes.
nah.
Nah,
I'm not.
I ain't no loser.
Hard mode. But I think this movie is a 6.5. I think the story, I could see where it wouldn't work for people. I think it worked for me. And I think there are points of it that I will not like, and that's why, you know, you said like the story carries, right? Mm-hmm. Through the horror and everything. I think that the story is serviceable.
Okay.
And it's definitely not the negative that people make it out to be, but it's definitely not the best thing ever. Which I'm not saying you're saying that. I know that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
When we get to spoilers, I want to hear the specifics of that.
Yes.
I'm curious. I think I might have an idea what you didn't like, but we're gonna wait.
Yeah. Otherwise, you know, I thought, as I said, like that attention to detail, like the animatronics, as you said, they look good.
So good.
I thought the effects that were there were fine, didn't take me out of anything, and the use of lighting in the movie was really cool. And finally, I think the last thing I really want to say was my other major negative, other than the story shortcomings, was that lack of horror. Like, you know, if this was like the Titanic 2, I'd say, okay, I didn't need the jump scares. And you know what? It's so weird that any other movie in this world, you could criticize it and be like, man, really relied on jump scares.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this time it's like,
you wish it was there.
Jump scares are what made Five Nights at Freddy. I mean, that's the only. It's not the only horror of the game, but that's the main form of like
the main
payoff.
draw. The main draw.
Yeah, it's like, ah! And I was like, yes. Where was that? It wasn't there. And you know what the problem was?
What's that?
In the movie, or in the game rather, you're getting these jump scares and stuff when you die. Mm-hmm. Mike's not dying. You know what I mean? That's the problem. That's the problem with adapting to a movie. Like movie. It's like you get to replay. They actually mentioned something very similar to that with The Last of Us, the TV show. Because there's like, comparatively speaking, like 1/100th of the amount of infected in the show that there is in, like they go episodes without like
seeing a single thing.
Well, they may even see them, but they may not like fight them all the time. Yes, but in the game you're doing it, every 20 minutes at the most, and so it's like that might be a mild exaggeration, and basically what they're saying was, well, in the game it kind of comes off as like the power trip, but on the show we don't. What a lot of audiences are going to view as like grounded in reality, it's going to come off like this guy's a god or something, some this way or that way. And there's different ways that the mediums kind of challenge themselves and challenge the person experiencing it. And I think that's where that form of horror actually is negated by the medium that it's presented in.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, I will leave my non-spoilery there. Mike doesn't die, guys.
Yeah, you did kind of spoil that.
I did kind of spoil it.
I mean,
wow. You get Josh Hutcherson in the building. Are you gonna kill him? No. Come on now. So, all right, spoilers. I feel like we really heavily were slanting on the story, one way or the other, kind of.
Yeah.
So, please defend to me, or agree with me. Use your points, or would you rather me bring up my negatives?
I want to hear negative because I feel like your negative has to do with the dream state.
No, I like that.
Really?
I love that.
I really thought the dream state would have been your big downfall.
I like that, except here's where my issue comes in with that. Sorry, I wasn't mentally prepared to talk about that aspect of it because I hadn't even clocked it as a negative. So
I just figured that might have been one of your things.
No, actually, I can see where people didn't like that, but I enjoyed the concept that he was going for. It was really heady, kind of like not sci-fi. It wasn't sci-fi, but it was like it was kind of weird. Like I didn't expect that from a Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
It was one of those things that you just roll with. You're like, it makes sense.
I'll say one thing I didn't like. No, spoilers now.
Yeah,
spoilers. I hated the fact that I don't know if it's actually from Vanessa herself that reveals like William Afton, or if it's him walking in at the end for the reveal.
Well, that's Matthew?
Okay. Yes, that because Mike knows him as a different name.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, everyone already knew that that's who it was going to be.
Of course, the audience, I'm saying for the character story perspective, I think the reveal was shit. I think that like you already found out that there's going to be a Springtrap showing up, and that William Afton's going to be in it. Oh, it just so happens to be this guy who hired me for the job. I understand that, but I think in the dream sequence, the final dream sequence, he needs to unlock a part of his mind's eye and like
show him driving the car. Or
show
something.
him he sees it and recognizes it. I know who that is.
Yeah. See, like, yeah.
That would have been cool. Way better.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Way better.
Because then, like, when he woke up or something, maybe like Springtrap could have been like right there and been like, "Huh, so you figured it out."
Right. He something like that. Ruined that reveal. In my opinion, I think that was not the best way to go about that.
Because you have to understand that those spirits and stuff. Like, I think that like it makes sense for him to be. Well, I guess not, because Matthew Lillard's character, Springtrap, he's still human. I imagine that like the FNAF characters being able to let like the actual like kids inside the regular FNAF animatronics, because they can alter his dream and actually hurt him in his dream, and he's hurt on the outside. Mm-hmm. So I imagine like them being able to be in his mind is something to do with him being spirits, ghosts, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, it makes sense if like Matthew Lillard's character like saw that him get figured out, and he's like, huh, figured it out, huh, kid? But he was just a human. So
right. Well, I would have even been fine with the fact that Vanessa turned on her dad, and that's how
she did.
Huh?
She did turn on. Oh, you mean like
I'm saying I would have been fine
with
that's why he still showed up, because Mike was getting too close. Kind of what happened anyway. But the problem was I just didn't like that was the first time we knew in that moment.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I wanted to say with that. But that was just going off your dream sequence comment. I actually really liked the idea of that.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool.
I liked it.
My only thing was I felt like, once again, their inclusion took away from what would have been your gameplay segments of the horror. Because every time he'd show up and he'd be like, Nevada.
Yep. Pass out.
Like, I mean, I get it. I don't, that's a pretty lazy security job. But I think that's cool. I do. I just.
It would have been cool just to see them at least move on the monitors a little bit.
Right.
I don't even think he sees it one time of them moving from watching the cameras, right?
No, well, kind of. He sees them staring at the camera,
Yeah.
and then like the light goes out for a second, and they've opened the vent. Actually, no, I think that was even the security guard at the beginning. I don't remember.
I
Or
don't
no,
think
it was one of the vandals. That's
I
what
say
it was.
I don't think he actually seen that.
Yeah.
I don't, which is kind of
Missed.
unfortunate. Yeah,
Missed opportunity.
because he's supposed to be the main guy. He's supposed to, and was he there for 5 nights?
Yes,
Okay.
I was keeping
Were you
count,
counting?
and
I wasn't.
I
I
was
was
also paying attention to the pacing of these nights as well, because I was like, man, that's a big part of the movie. It's literally the title of the movie. So let's see how it goes. So it takes you a little bit to warm up and get to the pizzeria,
Yeah.
and then the first night's pretty long. Second night's really short, or no, the second night's also long, but it's where she shows up.
Yeah, Vanessa.
And then the third night is really quick,
Yeah.
and then the fourth night is like, I think night 4 is where, what's her name's there, Abby.
Yeah, when she comes
Yeah.
in, and then they come back again.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
night
yeah,
5 is the night that everything
I thought
goes down.
I mean, I've listened to a few reviewers already, and
I have not. I have just seen like the quote, like the quick
a lot.
jibs on Twitter.
A lot of them were complaining about Vanessa when that night with Abby and him in there, and they were like doing the fort and everything.
Okay.
Then she not Abby, but Vanessa was kind of playing along, like Abby, whatever, real fun, like. But then
Yeah.
later, that night when they were getting ready to leave, she's like, "Don't come back, or I will shoot you."
Yeah.
And people were kind of like, "Well, that was a weird, change of character and stuff." The way I took it, I'm just saying that's what I saw a lot of people complaining about is that scene specifically of her being like, "Don't bring her back, or I'll shoot you on sight." My thing was I was kind of just taking it as they were already there. So then Vanessa was just like, okay, we'll play along, get through this night. That way they don't see it as suspicious.
Yeah.
And then when they got out, she's like, all right, don't come back, bitch.
Well, I mean,
That's how I took it.
one thing to consider is there was a near-death experience in there.
Well, she got shocked.
She got shocked. Yeah.
by the guitar. Yeah.
So that was
Yeah, but I imagine that Vanessa would have known too about them killing things or something. Did she
Right.
know about that?
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry,
almost assuredly. So I mean, because I have to assume she's the one that cleaned up the bodies. Or no, they probably did, but I doubt they were the ones cleaning up the blood.
Oh, I don't know.
So I mean, and if she was the one that found the scene, I'm just wondering. So
What did you think of them turning on Springtrap though, with the dude, the main character here, ripping that thing off or whatever,
See,
and then
that
the drawing.
That was the part of the story that worked for me, was the leveraging of the children and the fact that they are children,
Yeah.
and how they don't really remember much. It's just they're basing it off of these
Drawings,
pictures,
yeah,
these
yeah,
drawings. And
the
I
visuals.
I actually thought, for all of the fact that I thought this movie was really predictable, okay, I know exactly who the
the
killer is.
But
I know this and that.
I can't fault it for that though, because even me as not even a FNAF fan,
No,
I knew that.
I don't mean it they present I don't remember the guy's name, the hiring guy. They present him with a different name,
Yeah.
not William Afton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Vanessa, clear as day, was in on it from pretty much
Day one.
It's clear. It's just her involvement is unknown, and then that's why I think the scene where she flips the switch, I think that's where it comes into issue. Is up until this point, she's playing really coy with it, and then she's like, "You need to stay away, you need to stay out, all this and that." So I see where that comes in as a criticism, kind of. No, my issue. I don't know. What did you asked me what I thought? What did you think of that?
Oh, I loved it. I honestly thought it kind of tied everything together with the dream sequence and everything, and then I honestly just thought it was really cool because they just tear it down and
Right.
he's bad guy, bam, and then they're all like, "Oh, you're gonna get worked, sir."
I'll take this moment to say that between the dream sequences and Abby, I thought the child acting in this movie was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought the kids were great.
I thought the main boy, the ghost, he actually played young Luke Skywalker in the Obi-Wan show.
The blonde-haired one, or
The main one.
the main one.
That kept showing up everywhere. When the aunt got killed, and they went to get her at the one that was Freddy, right?
Was it Freddy?
Yeah, the boy with the striped brown shirt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When you said the main boy, I just always remember the one that he's always talking to in the dream sequences is the blonde
Yeah.
haired kid.
Yeah.
Is that Freddy?
I think so.
I don't know. They all have like the one has
Maybe
the
not.
Captain Hook thing on, and then like they
Yeah,
all
it's
have like their...
not the redhead boy.
I don't remember, man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They are dressed up for you. Like when you're watching it, you know which one's which. When you're looking at the dream sequences, they're like set up enough for you to be able to see who is what animatronic.
Yeah.
But since we talked about the ending a lot, let me jump to the beginning. Our main character here, it ties in because his younger brother getting stolen, so he's really defensive. But I love how he just beats the fuck out of the dad.
Yeah,
He's just like,
and we don't really at that point we don't know
know
the full story. Yeah, so I mean,
it's just like whoa.
Yeah. Josh Hutcherson in the movie. What do we think? How'd he do?
I think he did really well.
I liked him in the movie.
That's my thing with all
I
of
liked
them.
him, and I'm not sure the actress's name for Vanessa.
Vanessa, she was good.
I loved her in You and
I just think
GYATT, I guess. God.
No, that's the thing though. I think all the acting in this movie was really well done. The only one I didn't really care for that's just because they made her character annoying, and you were made to hate her was the aunt.
Yeah,
you were just made to hate her character from the get-go. So.
That's one thing I will say. I didn't like all of the fringe storyline. I thought that was fat.
That was just for kill count.
It was.
It was just for kill count.
I had that written down. It was like a necessary evil to have that, like the diner scene and like all this and that, because it's like they needed to set up a way, because obviously, as I said, they're not killing Mike, so they needed to set up a way
to kill someone.
It's just unfortunate they didn't really commit to showing it too well.
Yeah.
And honestly, that scene where they're going through there was a part of it where it felt really too goofy and it was too much like the rest of the movie. But like eventually it got there with the horror a little bit.
I love the cupcake part. The cupcake just nomming on the guy's face, and then I love
Chica.
Yeah, I love that, and I also love the babysitter getting split in half.
Oh my gosh,
with the shadow. That was cool. That's the thing, though. I just wish there was more of that.
Yeah. Even if it was cheeky like that, that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand you can't show super crazy stuff because PG-13 rating. But with the stuff they did, it was fine. I just would have loved... And I also would have loved, because, like, the FNAF crew here, they don't just kill people who are inherently evil, right? No, they just kill anyone? I actually don't know the lore there.
I'm pretty sure that's the idea. Well, I mean, in the game, it's completely different. In the game, well, at least the first game, because like I said, I played the first level of that before we did this. All the security guy says in the first game is, hey, at night, they don't really view you as a human. They view you as a metal exoskeleton.
Yeah. So
that is outside of its costume, which is against the rules.
They try to push.
So they're going to try to force you back into one.
I don't know why I said that anyway, because at the end anyway, they were trying to get Abby in there, and then they were trying to kill Vanessa.
Well, I think the difference, and like there actually is a bit of a difference, and I think even like the other Five Nights at Freddy's games kind of layer onto that. Like, I'm sure when Scott Cawthon made the games, the first game, he wasn't like expecting it to be as huge as it was.
Yeah, it was just a generic game.
It was like a cool concept, but like it wasn't fully realized. So like it was the second games that were like prequels and sequels.
Yeah, to build up on the lore.
Added onto it. And like all you're really told in the first game is like, yeah, they're just going to shove you in because they think that's what's going on. And then eventually you find out that they're possessed by children.
Yeah.
And how do I want to say this? In the movie, it kind of is combining multiple games worth of lore, which is a big like task. I mean, no matter how you slice it. I mean, these games are like 4 or 5 hours probably.
They have that like Gold Freddy come up too. So I think that's what he's called, Gold Freddy or something. The one that ends up going to the house and taking Abby and killing the aunt. That gets in the taxi because that's not the same.
Isn't he?
Yeah, it's not the same Freddy. It's a different kid in that one.
Well, it's the same kid. It's just a different...
I think my cousins were telling me it's the first kid that William Afton ever killed is the one that's in the Gold Freddy. He's more aggressive.
I don't know about that. I just know that it's the same kid that's throughout the whole movie because that's the Luke Skywalker kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that one is a different Freddy. Like, it's not the same one.
I'll be honest with you, with the lighting and everything. I remember he had like a blue eye. Yeah.
And he's kind of like jacked up. Yeah. That one apparently is like the most aggressive one out of the FNAF characters, I guess.
I mean, he left the place.
Yeah, he just went in, killed the aunt, took her, and just
Yeah.
got into the taxi. Also, completely unrelated to lore, but yeah, we talked about it in the no spoilers, but didn't say who. Yo, Matt Pat showing up, goated.
That was funny. That was clever. I like that.
I just love him being the diner guy, and they're like, we're not getting any food or whatever. He's like, that's no fun.
Yeah.
Then he says, it's a theory line, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I didn't expect Matt Pat to be in it. We knew Corey Kenshin was in it.
I
Because
didn't know.
You didn't see the trailer?
I don't know who he is, so
Oh,
I
you
didn't
don't know.
register. So
Yeah. Well, I know Corey Kenshin, so it was really hyped to see him in there, be in the taxi. It's cool to see that none
was
of
he
them...
like big on FNAF or something?
Honestly, like I told you, I really know him for like his Dead Rising playthroughs.
That's what
and,
you're
like,
saying.
Like, you know, he does a lot of content, but FNAF, I don't think was ever one of his main games. That's why I always thought it was kind of curious. But I love him, so I mean, good for
Right.
him. He's cool. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
I say he's really cool. Matt Pat's really cool. It sucks, but so we're in spoilers. There is no Markiplier. Would have loved to seen like maybe like the cutscene at the end with like Corey Kenshin in the taxi, and then you see the door open. It could have been like Markiplier or something just getting in.
My theory, and I said this to him earlier. My theory. It's just a game theory. My theory with this is that it's not like some big conspiracy as to why it didn't happen, but Markiplier is busy shooting
His movie.
Iron Lung,
Yeah.
which is cool, great, whatever. I think it's starring him for Iron Lung as well.
Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen is he's going to prove his acting chops, and then for the inevitable sequel, because this movie made like it's already
Yeah,
in
it's
its first
crazy.
weekend made like 3 times its budget.
Yeah.
They'll make a sequel. They will do it, and
I mean, they did build upon to make it enough to where it could get a sequel.
there was enough missing too. Yeah.
I feel like the movie did pretty well. Like, if it was a one-time thing, it's good. It was already tied
Yeah,
enough.
I mean, it tied it up, but then you get into the fact that in the game, Springtrap is never an alive human anyway.
Yeah, he comes back.
He's always possessed,
Yeah, so.
and so you get into that stuff. And I think if he never talked, I think that would be way scarier.
What, Springtrap?
Yeah.
I loved his eyes.
Yes,
That was
Yep.
something that I know the community talked about back when it was coming out. Like, oh, we don't like the way the white eyes look, or oh, we don't like the way the red eyes
It's the
look
red
like.
eyes. is what it
So,
is.
well, you know, the community wanted the white eyes instead of the red or whatever, and they stuck to their guns, made the red one, but then they made the scariest one of them all, Springtrap, have the white eyes. So, like, I
the other animatronics don't always have red eyes.
don't remember them having the white eyes, though.
They switch between them, like when they're angry or like passive. Like when Mike's holding up the chair.
Yeah, but when they're not attacking, it's just like regular eyes. It's not like your white dots like Springtrap was.
No, he's different in general.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, the white dots are what people wanted all the animatronics to have. So like, I remember the discourse between the red eyes and having the eyes just like white dots like Springtrap was.
I see what you're saying.
And I dig that they did both. But they just saved the really scary eyes for Springtrap, which was really cool. Because Springtrap, even though I'm not a huge FNAF guy, Springtrap's animatronic was definitely the scariest looking. That thing looked terrifying.
Yeah. He's taller.
Yeah.
I think.
He just looks spoopy.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And trying to think, how can I wrap this about? Okay, while we're on the thoughts of animatronics, I did have a letdown.
Okay.
So outside of the fact that there's like no jump scares, anything like that, one thing that I want to talk about was that like we didn't really see any of these characters doing their signature moves. Not that I'm like expecting any of them to like start dabbing or anything like that.
Hit the gritty.
Hit the gritty. Like,
It's gonna tease. It's gonna
Why
come to
isn't-
Fortnite. Hit the gritty.
why isn't Bonnie hitting the gritty right now? No, like class, and I know this kind of ties into like the not seeing it through the cameras because that's the perspective we saw from the games anyway. Why didn't we get like Foxy actually like that very, very specific visual of Foxy running down the hallway, which is like iconic, I think, from the first game
We
because
got
like
a little bit of him running towards our main character.
from the first person perspective
Yeah.
of Foxy. But I think the issue to me is like in the first game, you look through the cameras, the only time you ever see an animatronic move is when Foxy is charging you for the hallway.
Yeah.
Like, and when he's done that, you're basically done. Like, you see that, you gotta put the camera down, you gotta shut the door. You just gotta do it.
I mean,
And
I thought that the scene where the main guy is getting chased.
no, when it shows him turn around, it shows him walking but it doesn't show him do the run.
Okay.
And it, like, he makes it out right there in that scene or whatever. Or
It doesn't show him get out. It just shows him banging on the door.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to get out.
yeah.
Um,
No, you're right there.
I just thought because it did it twice because it did it with one of the like randos, like the guys that came in.
I remember now what my right off the bat, one of the biggest nitpicks I have about this movie.
Okay.
The opening security guard kill.
Yeah.
It moves from transition to transition. Like, he gets caught.
Mm-hmm.
He yells. You think, oh, they've got him. Scene cuts to him waking up in the chair. And then, because the movie's PG-13, they cut again with him screaming.
Yeah, because it didn't show him like get.
Both scene ends. Well, I think it's a full scene, but like both of those sequence enders are with him screaming. And it just comes off as like really, 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 really bizarre. I don't know. I was just like, man, are we gonna end scene number 3 like this too?
I would have. I would have loved to have seen more of like the getting stuffed into a bear or whatever, getting stuffed into the animatronic like they always do, like stuffy in there.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That stuff would have been really cool to actually see instead of get cut away or
Right.
stuff like that. I mean, that again comes with the PG-13 rating, but it would have been really kind of creepy just to see someone getting stuffed in a freaking animatronic, dude.
Right.
That would have been spoopy. But,
I agree.
I mean, all in all, I mean, you can only do so much with the PG-13 rating, and as far as FNAF goes, there's a lot of younger audience that's really into the franchise, so I understand why they went PG-13 with it, but I would have loved to have seen, yet again, bring in Megan here. Megan was PG-13, but they released like an uncensored version.
Yeah, they did, but they said they weren't going to do that for this one.
Yeah, they said they weren't going to do it for FNAF, which is a shame. I would have loved to have seen like the kills be a little bit more in there on the nose for what you do get.
Right.
But
I think the main difference is I think Megan was originally going to be R, and then it got
popular because of the dance. So
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Oh, Megan."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I don't know. FNAF was good though, in my opinion. Like there was some misses, but overall, I think it was pretty good. I mean, some story beats kind of weird, but
have one final bit of criticism.
let's hear it, brother.
No, I mean like
Let's hear it.
anything you else you want to air
No,
out?
I want to hear it.
Air it out.
I want to hear
like
it, bro.
I just I'm ready with one more in the chamber.
Okay.
Okay.
Shoot me. Do it.
Okay. So we've established, at least to some degree, that
Oh.
we are no longer in Nevada, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe, even if it is, I don't think that's the case. The point of bringing this up is that Mike is obviously putting up these pictures to remind him of a place that he is no longer, right?
Yeah.
For his dream sequence, right? What jumps in conclusion and logic do I have to make to realize that William Afton not only was there at that vacation spot to abduct his brother, but then also happens to be working and living wherever he ends up at?
I mean,
What are the odds?
it's a movie. You just gotta go with it, brother.
No, I mean, that really bothered me about halfway through. About halfway through, I was like fully convinced. I was like, okay, at that point in time, I was so naive to think they were going to have more than 5 minutes of Matthew Lillard time.
I would have loved to have seen more Matthew Lillard.
Just more build up. Like, I would have loved to seen where he's like
maybe checking in on him every night. Like, hey, how's it going?
Well, even if it's not that, like day 4 or something, like Mike calls him like, hey man, my sister showed up here, and something really bad could have happened. I just don't think this job's for me, like something like that, right? Like he's gonna like shut it down.
And then he tries to persuade
and
him.
then he comes in, he's like, no man, it's fine. Check this out. He's like, dude.
Maybe see like the pills he's taking on the counter. He's like, bro, maybe it's just all the meds you've been taking.
Right.
Such a Matthew Lillard thing. Like he could make that so goofy and fun. Like he would have pulled something like that off really well. And that's something I will, talk about. Like you said, not enough Matthew Lillard. And like I love Matthew Lillard, but honestly, in this movie, he honestly doesn't get to carry because he's not in enough.
No,
he doesn't get to do a lot of wacky stuff. Like the scenes he's in, he's awesome. But it's just not enough.
I agree, and that's when I was kind of alluding to earlier in the non-spoiler of like I thought most of the acting was good, and it's not that his was bad.
He just didn't get to be goofy.
It was just the characterization, and I'm not even expecting like I'm fine with him not being goofy.
Yeah, but
I think it's more of just the fact that it's like he didn't get the time to shine.
yeah, they definitely
He
kind of
got
like
more time with the ant.
they definitely were just like, hey, you're gonna hire this guy, and then after that you're gonna show up at the end for like 2 seconds. Cool. And he's like, all right. It would have been really cool because I don't know, like even if again, like you said, he didn't have to be goofy. It's just like Matthew Lillard's just a goofy guy. I mean, his whole personality is just being goofy in real life. So like him not being goofy is a little weird to me because
Yeah.
every role I've ever seen him in, even when I mean he could be serious, but he's such a funny guy. So it was weird to just see him not be as goofy, but at the end of the day, he still did really well. It's just he didn't have enough time to like use his acting magic to like make
Yeah.
it pop. He was just there to say a few lines, and then that was it.
Yep.
So, shame. Could have used Matthew Lillard more, but I mean, is what it is. Still think acting as a whole is really good, though.
No, I agree. I mean, I step away from this movie liking all of the small aspects of it. It's just the sum of its parts come out to something that's not ideal.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know. I think that's kind of where I end at. And like, even every once in a while when we have these conversations, we usually give our scores at the end.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find myself wavering like half a point or so.
I do that a lot, too, yeah.
I'm resolute with 6.5.
6.5.
I am strongly in accordance with that. I've had a couple days to think about it. That's where I think it's at.
I think I'm going to stay 7 as well. If someone told me 7.5 or whatever, I mean 6.5, I think that's fair. I just don't... Going into this movie, my expectations were so low.
Yeah.
Because of how
critic
many of the
scores.
critics... Like, normally I don't care about critics, because usually critics, when they review something bad, I'm like, all right, they're probably just wrong.
Right.
Or if they review
Right.
something really good, I'm like, all right, it's probably going to be terrible. Honestly, I'm always the opposite of what critics say, which here, again, checks out. I was the opposite. But... I don't know. I just kept seeing every critic just bomb, terrible, bad, not enough this, not enough that. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And we went opening night, so I was like, oh, that's scary. And plus, I'm not even a huge FNAF guy, so I'm like, not all the reviews being bad, me not even being really a big fan of the franchise. I'm like,
Huge fan.
I was like, this might not be good. And
Yeah.
then I walked out. Positive, I went in like, oh no, skeptical. I came out and I was like, I was pretty good,
Yeah.
I mean, I had some issues with it, but overall it was a pretty good film. I think everyone should watch it, in my opinion, whether you're a fan of the franchise or not. I think if you are a fan, you're gonna love it. If you aren't a fan, if you're going in just to see a scary movie, I don't think it's gonna click with you because it's not a scary movie. Like, it's really not.
Right.
But I mean, it's still a fun watch. Get a little plot building of the lore of, the Five Nights universe, and get a little few kills here and there, and then maybe sequel, maybe not. We'll see.
I hope they do one because I hope
Yeah.
that we get that scary movie. I hope they just jump straight to, hey, there was actually 2 Freddy Fazbear's pizzerias and the sister location. And
I mean,
I hope it takes a turn, and I hope it's a different protagonist. Straight up.
just different protag. I could see it.
Well, because here's the thing. Unless they're going to flip it on its head one way or the other, I think the magic of this location and these characters, these animatronics, this set of animatronics, there could be an identical Bonnie, Chica, Freddy at the other one. Plus, ideally, you'd want more.
Yeah.
You'd want some of the other ones to be added.
I mean, I'd love to somehow tie him in, but because I don't want to see him completely canned from the movie because he did really good. I would love.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I think I would love to see maybe him have to come back to it or something, like they get Abby or something weird.
Maybe-
But I would love to see them hire a new guy to work there, and actually see him die after a few nights or something. Not like the security guard where he just screams once, screams twice.
If
done.
we don't get, I don't want to say this. If we don't get I think that could work. If Mike could still be in it, I guess what I'm going for is that we need a new protagonist as well.
Yeah.
That we need
They could,
someone who's
team up.
not familiar. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
He gets hired at this other location. Who would be doing the shady hiring there? Who I don't know, but he gets on at this other location. Contract for hire, whatever. He's looking it up. man, are there any of these other pizzerias? Is there shit going on at this one too? Looks it up, you know, calls, I don't know, calls the toll number or whatever.
Total number.
Who picks up? Mike. You know what I mean? So
I think it'd
Hey.
be, and like if you wanted to bring Mike in, like if you wanted to do 2 pro tags of the sorts, I mean, you could always bring Mike back in by Abby getting stolen by Springtrap himself. Like, who would want to go get Abby and get revenge on them other than Springtrap?
right.
You
Yep.
know, he'd just
Yep,
come
yep,
in
yep.
and be like, "Whoop, later." I don't
Yep.
know. I'd love to see a sequel, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't,
I don't think it needs one.
it doesn't need one. But personally, with how well it's doing already in theaters and money wise,
It would be a mess not to.
yeah, it'd be weird.
Especially if they could get away with another one with. I mean, they'd probably up the star budget a little bit, but that'd be about it.
But also, get worked, official critics.
Yep.
Yet again, you just like the Mario movie, super low, and then we're like, nope.
Thank you, everyone. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No. Go watch the movie.
I don't want to rush you. I just
Yeah, I mean,
keep it nice and
yeah,
poignant.
go watch the movie. It's pretty good, and see you the next review.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.